Hey everyone, I'm Aaron. Today, call me E5. I play a little bit of third base. Today, we're going to talk about not so good fielding. That's my identical twin brother, Adam. He's going to go by E6. Today, we're talking about errors. Folks, this one today is from a listener, Romney, bringing the noise today and asking us to fill in this particular trivia topic. He wanted us to talk about some lovable losers. So we'll have more of these to come. Thank you, Romney. But to add your trivia, whatever's burning inside of you that you want some trivia about, baseball related, please. Baseball related, and we'll get after it. So, Adam, you've got trivia lined up for us. What do we got?
I do. We've got today's question of the players who had more than 60 errors in a season since 1920. Which player's team fared the worst? So thank you, Romney. We appreciate it. I found this hilarious little link page on Boston.com. If they have a broken link, Bill Buckner shows up making an error to cost the Red Sox the World Series. So thanks to Boston.com for that little piece of fun. But here's our question with our answers today. Which player's team had the worst season? And again, these are players who made many, many errors. We have Dave Bancroft with the 22 Giants, Al Brancato with the 41 A's, Lonny Frey with the 36 Dodgers, and Heinie Sand with the 25 Phillies. What do you got?
Yeah, I just was thinking Dave Bancroft made the most out of this group, and so I just figured he had to be.
You
That's
figured
all.
he had to be him?
Yeah,
Okay.
it had to be his team that fared the worst.
Okay. Well,
Um,
I mean, as we've learned in other shows, it takes more than one player
it
to
sure
make a
does.
team.
But when you
I went,
haven't when you haven't heard of the other players,
yeah,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
yeah. I went. We've had a run of talking about the A's,
Hmm.
and I've learned a lot about the A's, and especially when they're good and when they're not good. There's been a lot of not good. So I went 1941 A's, Al
Okay.
Brancato here, feeling like, hey, A's, let's do it. So let's go to the notes, see where we're at. Looky there. I did it again. I'm on a roll. Al, Bron-
Chills,
Al, Bron-
chills. He did it again.
Al Brancato's A's, 64 and 90. Um, your guess, Bancroft's Giants,
I wouldn't.
93 and 61.
We're gonna talk about that. That I ended up on the complete very wrong. I mean, had we flipped this question, maybe I had an error in my head that I misinterpreted the question. I didn't, but I made an error clearly here. We're going to talk about Dave Bancroft, and
Right now, we're going to
now,
talk about
whoa,
Dave
first on deck.
Bancroft. Dave, he played 16 seasons, had the magic number 666 errors at a pace of one error every 2.87 games. That is so many.
That's a lot. We're going to talk about if that's the most ever. Is it? Well, we'll see. But in 1922, Dave Bancroft led the league in errors. Okay. Any guesses what his defensive WAR was? Anybody? How about positive 2.7? Good,
Wow.
good for first in the league. We're going to
Well,
talk
we're going
about
to,
why that is. So,
yeah, I'm going to talk a little history about that too. But you can see here on the screen. So we got on the right, we got Dave Bancroft baseball card, but Dave Bancroft led all the baseball in errors, still ended up in the Hall of Fame.
yep.
Um, but what about the most ever? The most ever errors in a career. Dave Bancroft, does not hold that record. That belongs to our friend, not really our friend. He belongs to Herman Long. I don't know Herman Long, so can't call him my friend. But here he is with his team in Boston, and a little portrait there. Herman Long had 1,096 errors across 16 seasons from 1889 to 1904.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking when you said we don't really know our friend Herman Long, I was thinking back to our grandpa. One of the things he used to say if we have like this kind of conversation, he'd be like, "Yeah, me and Herman, yeah, he and I, we used to eat chicken out behind the barn." So speaking of Gramps here, um, the most comparable in the era, so the modern era, and who was a contemporary Dave Bancroft was Rabbit Marinville. He had 711 errors, but across 23 seasons at a rate that was lower, one error for every 3.75 games. So a little more effective in the fielding than Dave.
Yeah, and we're getting into a different era here too. I was doing a little reading about our friend Herman Long, and actually, he's not in the Hall of Fame, but a lot of players advocated for his being in the Hall of Fame. He was at his time considered like an elite shortstop, and scorekeepers back then used to dole out errors like penny gum, and
Mm,
and and uh, his contemporaries essentially said that Herman Long played the entire left side of the infield, and he would dive and he would, try and make every single play. And now you try and make an extraordinary play and you don't pull it off, it's a hit. Back
yeah.
then, you try and make an extraordinary play and you don't pull it off, you get an error. And that's why
Wow.
that's why Herman Long um, finished with so many, but he was considered by his peers to be like the best shortstop of his time.
Yeah, and they didn't have not every player had gloves back then. I mean, they were it's not like they had the mitts that I mean, and even up until, the 30s and 40s, maybe somebody with the knowledge, I read a book about this and I forgot. So, that's on me. It's an error. E5. But they didn't have like the glove where you can actually catch it. Like they had to start, it was like basically like a pillow on their hand, so it's not like you could dive and catch it and get up and make a throw. That wasn't a thing. Um, and so that contributes to a number of errors as well. And this was the first time that the different era like really stuck in my head because in today's game it's like hit a home run and you're like, well, why don't you just put the ball in play? Like, why don't you just put it in play? And and it's a different era, which means that put the ball in play doesn't work the way that it used to. So Dave Bancroft had 62 errors in 1922. Okay, that means that other players were making errors too at a significant rate, probably more so, a higher rate than Dave Bancroft because he was actually a good defender. Um, the St. Louis Cardinals in 2022, as a team for the entire season, had 66 errors. Not one player, the entire team had 66 errors. So you can't just say, well, put the ball in play. Well, you put the ball in play. I mean, it's better than not putting the ball in play. But it's not the same as it was 60 or 100 years ago, where, you might get on base. You have a higher probability. Nowadays, you just don't. Guys make all those plays. And so it just a different that really struck me, especially seeing Dave Bancroft as a 2.7 plus WAR on the defensive side of the ball compared to his era. I mean, he was an outstanding defender for his era. So anyway, that's enough of my era rant.
Yeah, and so props here to High Heat Stats with a little chart of balls in play. We're talking
Mhm.
about just put the ball in play. It's tough to see here, but 85-ish% of at bats led to a ball put in play back in the
Mhm.
day. So there were a lot more opportunities, whereas this only goes up till 2013. We've gone even more extreme on the home run strikeout
Yeah.
end of things. So this factors out home runs and strikeouts and walks. And so um, you can see how much it's dropped off. So even thinking about the Cardinals have much fewer opportunities to make plays. Certainly, if they were in the 85% range, like Dave Bancroft's team or Herman Long's team, you see more errors over
Yeah.
time. So, a little bit of both. We got better players, better equipment, better analytics as far as like where I should play to be able to
Right.
be in the best opportunity to make a play. But yeah, different era, different time. Players making plays.
Yeah.
It's story time. I'm going to start with an E6 that I made. I played a lot of shortstop, not only shortstop, but played a lot of shortstop. The most memorable E6. I don't remember what year I was in high school, maybe a
You
sophomore.
sophomore, yeah.
Sophomore year, I was playing JV, playing down to fill the shortstop role for a JV game. Runner on second, and we had this guy picked off. So I go in to make the play. Pitcher turns around, makes a great move. John, good friend, throws gas through some absolute smoke from the mound.
Yeah.
I went to make the play. I tagged before I caught the ball. Ball hits me right in the eye. And it didn't hurt that much. So I checked to make sure I'm okay. Check, blood everywhere. I go down in a heap, thinking, oh no, this is not good. I don't know what happened to the play. I don't know if the player moved on or whatever. I don't know, because if he stayed, maybe I didn't get an error. But if he moved on, I would have got the error. Our good buddy Jojo goes over to our mom, says he's dead. My mom's losing it.
Yeah.
I'm on the field, blood everywhere. End result of that E6 was a trip to the clinic downtown, got some stitches, had to miss the next game. Didn't want to miss it, but I was wearing a patch, and that would not have made for a successful game.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember this one. I was we both played varsity, and you had been called down to JV to fill in some innings. So we didn't have like full teams at JV. We needed some extra bodies. So Adam was playing shortstop, and I'm out in right field, deep right field, and we're just doing some drills and whatnot. And all of a sudden I see somebody laying on the ground, and I was like, oh, is that Adam? And he's laying on the ground, and so obviously I didn't quite run over there and see what was going on, but yeah, Jojo running up, as I mean, the things you don't tell a mother, right? Is like he goes up there and he's just like, oh, he's dead. And my mom just like, she loses it. It's like she doesn't know you're laying in a heap on the field. You've been crushed in the face with a 90-mile-an-hour throw from John. John, by the way, brother of our good buddy Mitch, self-proclaimed show addict. By the way, Mitch is. So this is brother John. So Mitch, maybe you'll take the heat for that one. Maybe not. But anyway, that's going to do it for us today. A lot of fun talking about errors. Special thanks today to Baseball Reference, Imagine Sports, and High Heat Stats. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Subscribe, like. Join us again tomorrow. We'll be back at it. We'll see you then.